and 1. He's playing at Jeskai Super Friends, which I think's been the best deck of the tournament. Team Lotus Box came up with a great deck.
Yeah.
He's up against Brad Carpenter. Brad is on mono red. It's always a matchup you care about when you develop a new deck.
Yeah, you know, we just got done watching Harlan Fear play this mono red aggro deck, and now we're going to see teammate Brad Carpenter play basically the same list and see if the Jeskai Super Friends deck is going to be a better control deck in the matchup than Esper proved to be.
All right, let's head down to the feature match table. Carpenter here on the left. Abe really putting some distance between himself and the field. He's 10-0-1. Brad actually has 2 losses. Most players have 2 losses here. Abe with a win here is really gonna. I don't know if it's officially will lock up a top 8 slot, but it's close.
Oh, a win here is pretty close to locking it up, because then at that point the worst you could possibly be is 11-3-1 and basically be guaranteed the best tiebreakers due to picking up losses later in the tournament and so forth. Love the cute Dragon Shield art sleeves on Carpenter's side.
Well, Fanatical Firebrand from Brad, going to try to get this one over with quickly. But he is on the draw this time, so he has to be careful. The Corrigan deck is a main deck Deafening Clarion build, and we'll see if he has it. Land 3.
Not off that. Beacon.
2 Interplanar Beacons, a bit rough. There was a Runaway Steamkin from Brad.
And now Brad has the chance to make this Steamkin outgrow a Clarion.
And actually, Brad really respecting it. You saw no attacks from the Firebrand that turn as he plays Goblin Chain Whirler. Corrigan down to 14. No other lands from Corrigan. Viashino Pyromancer. Brad's seizing some advantage here.
See him.
Yeah, another Pyromancer, and Corrigan picks up the cards. That's just way too fast. It looks like he just really, he kept a borderline hand, which sometimes you do against mono red, but that can happen.
Yeah, it looked like there may even have been the Clarion. It was hard. We don't hear it, so it's hard to tell if him tapping the 3 there was a joke or him going, oh wait.
Yeah. I mean, certainly a 3-land hand with Deafening Clarion you're going to keep in this matchup.
Yeah,
on the
even
play.
If it's missing a white source.
Yeah, and you'll just accept those losses when they happen.
Yeah, you're way more likely to draw a white source in your top 2 to 3 cards than you are to find a Deafening Clarion and the lands needed for them in 6 cards.
So Brad holding Abe's feet to the fire early. Manages to get the quick win. So they're going to switch over to sideboards. We've seen Abe a couple times. This is our first time today. The 3 Deafening Clarions supplement 3-4 shocks in the main. Out of the sideboard, he moves toward Lyra Dawnbringer as well.
Yeah, and we saw him play against a red deck yesterday and not struggle too much, just kind of on the back of the fact that a lot of these Planeswalkers are very good at forcing mono red to really just send its attention multiple places. Every single Planeswalker that they point a burn spell at is worth an extra card.
Right. Yeah, there's all these Planeswalkers that enter with high loyalty, and we're looking at things like Saheeli, Sublime Artificer. That is a 3-mana Planeswalker that has 5 loyalty, and the red player really has to decide whether they're going to remove it or not.
Yeah, and if they don't deal with it immediately, it's going to make 1/1s. Would you play a 3-mana, say, make 2 1/1s, gain 5 life?
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what heroic or timely reinforcements against a red deck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Firebrand again from Carpenter. And Abe shocked for an opt. That's a really expensive thing to do here. He opts again main phase. A little bit of card dexterity there. And puts the second one into play tapped. Yeah. So if you saw an opponent keep a 7 with Jeskai and making that kind of plays, Brad commits the Steamkin here, and I would be really concerned that a Clarion would happen. I mean, would Brad, the Clarion's in Abe's hand at that point. Now you have to decide whether you're going to respect it or not.
Yeah, when I see Shock opt into main phase, opt tap land, I smell blood and I'm going for it. If he rips the 3rd land here and the red source, you just, maybe you get got, but you got to try and take your shot somewhere.
I like you said you smell blood there. I completely agree. It's interesting, but you also know that his hand probably has excellent cards in it because there's a reason he kept.
Exactly.
But Bradley gonna not this one. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that play from Bradley. He recommitted the rest of his board, but he did it because he knew if Corrigan had the Clarion, he had the Frenzy follow-up.
Yeah, and there's the Frenzy, and then there's the other point where Corrigan didn't. He just went for the Lava Coil the previous turn when Clarion would have been good there. So there's a point where you just kind of have to go, all right, well, if you get me, you get me. But these cards aren't getting better as the game progresses. And especially with cards like Sarkhan the Masterless in the deck, there's a chance you just lose.
Top card, Experimental Frenzy. Lightning Strike takes care of Narset. Gitu Lava Runner off the top for Brad. And he says, go, does not have haste for the Lava Runner. Frenzy is very powerful against this deck. Outside of the Teferi Time Ravelers, Abe does not, unless he's boarded in some Prison Realms, he does not have a way to remove this.
Yeah, and even Prison Realm is something that it's really only going to answer the cards that the Experimental Frenzy is able to put into play, but is never, it's going to treat the symptoms, not the disease, you know?
Yeah, it's one of those situations where Prison Realm's not actually Oblivion Ring.
Yeah. It's like a white hero's downfall, sort of.
Okay, mighty fine card, but
hey, you get to scry.
So do you feel if Abe does not find a Teferi to answer this Frenzy, do you feel like Abe can power through it?
It's pretty unlikely, but something like Sarkhan could give him the ability to actually just try and pressure Carpenter in the interim.
Just race it?
Like here we saw Brad just hit 2 lands in a row, it looks like.
Yeah, and the hard part is that Abe's, the answers he does have for Frenzy, in his hand he has 2 copies of Spell Pierce. That's something he would have loves to find on turn 4. As here's the Sarkhan you mentioned, pluses it immediately. Has to keep it safe from burn spells. Upkeep Wizard's Lightning, deals 3. Or rather, end step Wizard's Lightning, deal 3 to Sarkhan. And Fanatical Firebrand, main phase. And does he have an answer for Sarkhan? Maybe Sarkhan gets to untap.
Ooh. Light up the stage?
He shoots. There we go. Yeah, he shoots Abe. Light up the stage. Holds it on the stack. Checks his top card. Is it an instant? Nope, it's a Rekindling Phoenix. So he exiles 2. Checks the top card. Top card's a land. Plays the land. Checks the top card.
And I like this upside down mountain that he has in order to help remember if he's played a land off of Frenzy this turn.
So Runaway Steamkin. Another Runaway Steamkin. Top card. Are we done? We might be. Says go. Abe needs to Clarion away this board. If you let Brad on tap with 2 Steamkins and a Frenzy, things get really. That's the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that is, my opponent has not literal infinite mana, but 1,000 mana.
But we're still going. He does have the Clarion. So, things go on. Sarkhan pluses attacks in for 4. Brad to 16.
Sometimes you just need a good old-fashioned air elemental.
Abe has left up 2 copies of Spell Pierce. May be able to convert one this turn. We'll keep an eye on it. A lot of lands in Brad's hand. He has a Rekindling Phoenix and a Fanatical Firebrand hanging out in exile. Firebrand is cast, attacks Sarkhan down to 3. Is he going to cast the Phoenix, or is he going to leave it there?
If he chooses not to cast Phoenix this turn, that's a big, big sign.
Tybalt is the play. Abe could double Spell Pierce. And I agree that he's going to leave the Phoenix out in exile, it looks like.
Yeah, I am not confident in this, in not casting the Rekindling Phoenix here, especially since it's so good against Sarkhan.
Double Spell Pierce is the play. Phoenix gone, out in exile forever. 3 mana from Abe. Narset, Parter of Veils. -2 finds a Lightning Strike. We are in racing territory here.
Yeah, if Abe can just find another burn spell, maybe cast another Planeswalker this turn, all of a sudden Brad's facing down lethal.
He has Prison Realm, Land, Lightning Strike. And he's going to Prison Realm the Fanatical Firebrand. I like this kind of line. It really shows a commitment to racing.
Yeah, it's not pretty, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
Brad, going to try to recover here. Big hand. A lot of cards going on. Still has Frenzy in play, though. Looks like a full 7-card hand for Carpenter. And it turns out the Rekindling Phoenix, had he cast it, likely would have been met with that Prison Realm. So Lightning Strike shoots the Sarkhan down to 1. Can he finish it off? Cracks Experimental Frenzy. Mountain and Gitu Lava Runner finishes off Sarkhan.
Okay.
You hate to get rid of the Frenzy, but I love it from Brad. Yeah. That was Abe's damage source.
This is disciplined. I'm a big fan of this. It's giving up a card advantage source, saying, you know, I've gotten 5 cards off of this. I hope that's enough, but this card's literally going to kill me if I don't do something about it.
Yeah, he identified that Abe was on a racing line, and he said, well, you've played your game to set up for a race, so if I take away your damage source, your hand's not very good.
Right, exactly.
Saheeli found for Abe off that second Narset activation. There was a Lyra in the top 5. Unfortunately, can't take it. with the Narset. Lava Runner. Tries to go for Saheeli, but it'll get shocked. Here comes the servo. I believe last card in Abe's hand is Lightning Strike.
Yes.
Chain Whirler takes care of the servo, the Narset, and 1 damage to the Saheeli. Good patience on Brad.
Big fan of this play.
To do that post-combat. Here's Light Up the Stage. Spectacle enabled. Tybalt and a Mountain.
And Brad does know it's a Lightning Strike in Abe's hand.
Right, he saw it. It was found off Narset.
Correct.
Another Light Up the Stage from Brad. 2 more cards. Wizard's Lightning, Viashino Pyromancer.
Pyromancer plus Wizard's Lightning is a very nice play from a tempo perspective here.
Here's Pyromancer. Decides to go 2 at Saheeli. Here's Wizard's Lightning, finishes off Saheeli. Lightning Strike in response. I actually like this from Brad. Despite the fact that his opponent's at 9, he just sent 5 damage at a Planeswalker.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the thing that turns on the Viashino Pyromancer to actually get through damage. He has another one in his hand. This Tybalt, he doesn't want the 1/1s to trade for things.
All right, well, Narset is cast -2, finds Sarkhan, so a new damage source is found for Abe. Brad is running low on resources.
Well, lucky for Brad, Abe's running low on life.
Yeah. Pyromancer shoots 2 to Narset. Oh no. Brad has another Experimental Frenzy.
All right.
Top card here. He'll cast that Tybalt out from exile. That's from last turn's Light Up the Stage. Tapped out for this turn, but we are back to having the, I think, the fight of Sarkhan versus Brad's life total. Pyromancer trades with a servo.
Yeah, and I like this attack because Brad knows that next turn, if Abe just plays Sarkhan minus a Sarkhan, these X1s can't attack anymore.
Right. Abe was going to go for Sarkhan, but he drew a better 5-drop. It is Lyra Dawnbringer off the top for Corrigan.
Is that a good card?
I think it's pretty good if we're racing.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't gain life here because of Tybalt, but it's still pretty good. Here is Wizard's Lightning, and where is Brad sending it? It's upstairs. He's changed direction. He knows his opponent can't gain life, so might as well. 2 more mana. Here is Direfleet Daredevil. Oof.
That can target a Lightning Strike.
It absolutely can. He checks the top card with it on the stack. If his top card was a burn spell, this would be easy. Lightning Strike is the pick. Does Brad have lethal?
It's close. He can cast the Lightning Strike until end of turn.
Right, so he attacks in. Lyra blocks the Pyromancer, 1 damage across. Remember, no life gain. Cast Lightning Strike, Abe down to 2, makes a Devil token. Well, that's 2 damage.
All right,
with the Devils.
So now if these Devils die...
If Sarkhan makes a dragon, he can just attack with the Devils and win. Opt for Abe. I feel like Abe needs to find, like, Shock. Shock away the Tybalt, attack with Lyra might be his best kind of option.
Yeah, and another line, if he wants to risk Brad possibly just bricking, you can Sarkhan, roll up Sarkhan, have the Narset attack Tybalt.
And that's what he'll do. Exactly that. Removes that away.
It's not pretty. You're giving your opponent a bunch of outs here, but you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
Yeah, now Lyra, as a blocker, will gain life. See if it's enough. Abe's tapped out. Hopes in no burn spell, please. And there's the burn spell. Carpenter 2-0 takes the win. It is Abe's first loss of the tournament, and it comes at the hands of Brad Carpenter. So he drops to 10-1-1. Likely still have a lot of win-ins here for the top.